Hello everyone and welcome to another video by Centipede Geek. In this video I will be talking about a CBC television or an original Sundance television show. It's also available on the horror streaming app known as Shudder. It's a Canadian television show by the name of Trickster. I'll be talking about all 6 episodes, or at least the best of my ability to talk about my thoughts on the show. And then I'll talk about some of the controversy that the show's had, or at least that the show's creator has had. And I just found out about all this information, so it's in a way it's a little heartbreaking because I did want to see a season 2, but it doesn't seem like a season 2 is going to air. And we'll get to that later on. But either way, let's talk about Trickster. Well, let's see. According to Wikipedia, the premise reads: the series centers on Jared, an indigenous, forgive me if I pronounce this wrong, Haslett teenager and a small-time drug dealer in British Columbia who becomes increasingly aware of the magical events that seem to follow him. And like I said, it plays on a lot of indigenous heritage and this whole trickster element where, just so everyone knows, there will be spoilers ahead, where he seems to have this ability to turn into a raven or a crow of sorts. And he's got these, he misleads people. So it's almost like I don't want to compare it to Satan, but it's like a Satan or a deceiver concept where he deceives people and he's almost like not really able to help that he deceives people. He meets his father along the way, and he finds out that he's the son of a trickster, and he finds out that his mother's a witch, and it's got some other things going on there too. You could call it a part coming of age story as he grows up and he starts to learn things about his life, and he finds things out about himself and who his real father is. He has a friend named Crash Pad, and it's about their relationship as friends. He finds a girlfriend along the way, so it becomes a little bit of a romance of sorts, but not really done in the typical young adult fashion that you see a lot nowadays. That's pretty much the main plot of Trickster. Overall, I really enjoyed this show. This has been a really cool 6 episodes, a very unique concept, something I've really never seen before seen on television, done on a smaller, more independent channel known as Sundance. So it was really cool, sort of the representation and the inclusion of the different indigenous tribes or indigenous heritage. That was really cool to see that and learn about some of these trickster concepts and learn about some of these different tribes that I didn't know nothing about. So that was really cool seeing something like that. Like I said, the concept of the show is very original. I am always a sucker for these sort of coming-of-age stories, watching these young teenagers or these young kids grow up, and it's just really cool seeing that. It has a very unique, there's this, along the way, we see this pipeline, and this girl that he gets involved with is very against fracking and the pipeline, so we get to see some of the political turmoil or political controversy along the way. I liked how it included that in there, so it was very real in the show, and then of course real in today's society as well, depending on what people support. Not that I want to get into political discussion, of course I do not. But so that brings me to, I really enjoyed the show, and that brings me to whether or not the show is going to have a season 2. Let's get straight to, before we get to that, it was based off a 2017 novel by an author by the name of Eden Robinson, by the name of Son of a Trickster. I believe there's actually 3 novels in the series, but I haven't read the book, so I won't comment too much on those. So let's talk about whether or not the show is going to have a season 2. I found out that it will not have a season 2, and apparently it's because of some controversy that the show's had. And if you give me just a second here, I will get to that exact article. If you give me just a second, I want to get to the exact article that I had, so I got to pull up my history here on my tablet. So it looks like I don't know how everyone feels about cancel culture. I'm not real big on cancel culture. I'm a pretty left person myself, but when it comes to cancel culture, whether it's right or wrong, it gets a hold of something, and it just, it really has ruined a lot of people's careers. And I think that the Trickster is another example of that. So according to the Globe and Mail, it's right here. It says Michelle Latimer serves CBC with a notice of libel while network cancels Trickster. And I'll put a link to this article below, or at least try to if someone reminds me. It was originally planned for a season 2, and then I guess because something about the network, let's see what it says here. they decided the plan of the second season is off the table. It says, "We are committed as ever to telling other important Indigenous stories, of which there are many," the network said. There are currently 8 such scripted projects in development, and we look forward to sharing more details about what's next in the coming months. Latimer announced that she was leaving the series. So I guess the main creator of the show announced that she was leaving public apology via Facebook for naming the Catagon Zibi community in Western Quebec as a part of her family history before doing the work to formally verify this linkage. At the time of Latimer's resignation from Trickster, the series was in the script stages of the second season. So it looks like it was confirmed for a second season, but then the co-creator of the show decided to leave the show and apologized because apparently she thought that I guess she was a part of this indigenous family history in her community, but it found out that she actually wasn't a part of it. And to me, that seems like, maybe the research should have been done, but it seems to me, at least as far as my take on it, it seems like it was an honest mistake. But like I said, with today's culture and the way things happen, this is one of those things where she left the show maybe out of respect. Maybe you guys can comment below and see what, It says that she left the show in hopes that the show would continue, but in my opinion, it probably won't. Says, "I was not involved in the decision that was announced today, and I'm sad to hear that season 2 has been canceled." So apparently, it looks like she wasn't involved in the actual cancellation of the show. "I am incredibly proud of the entire team that worked so hard to bring Trickster to life, and I will forever be grateful to the cast and crew that poured their hearts and souls into its creation. I am attempting to resolve these issues in good faith. The CBC was aware of the questions and concerns I raised about the integrity of the research they used to inform their reporting, as well as the manner in which they approached the story, and yet they reported inaccurately about my ancestry and created a false narrative about my character and my lineage," is what the filmmaker said. So apparently she believes, or according to her, she states that they got a hold of it and twisted her words and made their own story out of it. And I'm going to go ahead and take Latimer's side on this because she has a lawyer, and apparently it says we are now reviewing what's in the notice. Anyways, I'll put a link to the article so you guys can kind of dig into that. Overall, I really enjoyed the first season of Trickster. It's heartbreaking to know that there's not going to be a second season because of all this false reporting and stuff like that. And like I said, in today's culture, cancel culture gets a hold of it. And whether it's right, whether it's wrong, whether it's an apology that's given, in my opinion, it doesn't really matter, because once something like that gets a hold of that, it can really ruin someone's career. And there's many examples of that. We could talk about Johnny Depp. We could talk about many other people. There's times where people, things, in my opinion, deserve to be accounted for. And then there's times when people are falsely accused of things. Either way, this is one of those cases, in my opinion, where it looks like a season 2 should still be made, but maybe we'll get one, right? You never really know. Either way, it's got some really cool mythology in there, and it's got some cool representation in there, and there's some great indigenous actors in there, and actors that I had never seen or heard of, but I would love seeing them in other works if they haven't already acted. I'm sure that they're in other works. It could be their debut, who knows, but I'd have to do a little bit more research. Like I said, there's some concepts in there that I haven't seen before in television, and overall the show just has a really cool vibe. It's only 5 or 6 episodes, so it doesn't take very long to kill through, 5 or 6 hours at most, right? But anyways, once again, thanks for watching another video by Centipede Geek. For my Shudder review, or Sundance TV show review, by the show by the name of Trickster, make sure to like, comment, subscribe below, and as always, thanks for watching.